Well, before we get too involved with the C++ programming languages, there's a few things I'd like to show you that might remove some of the mystery from this code. The first thing we want to talk about is namespace. Now you'll see in front of you, this is our standard Hello World introductory program. And there's a few things about it that may seem a little odd to you. First of all, let's look up here, follow the cursor, and you'll see that I say include IOStream. The C and C++ programming language come with a basic set of commands, but that basic set of commands does not include the ability to read or write to the outside world. That has to be included in a library that makes it indigenous to a particular architecture. So we have to include that library. Now you'll see right here we have, say, using namespace standard. What does that do? Well, to illustrate what it does is, let's take it out. I'm just going to comment it out. I'm going to put a slash in front of it. That comments the code and makes it go away. Now you'll see immediately what happens is it puts a little red squiggly underscores under cout and indel. And that's telling us that the language doesn't understand that, doesn't know where it's at. Let's go ahead and do a build and see what happens. So we're going to do a build, and it says hello world, and it says, aha, look down here, cout and indel are undeclared identifiers, doesn't know what they are. Okay. Well, that's namespace. When we say using namespace, that takes those errors away, but why is it? Well, what namespace is it's a sublibrary. Inside of IOStream, there are several commands called cout. There may be several indels. And to tell us which one to use, we use the using function, using namespace standard. Now if we don't say using namespace standard, we have to tell the C++ programming language which one of those to use, and we do that just by putting std : Now you'll see it come up, it says, okay, I recognize that, and we'll say std : and there it is, and you'll see this is the list of libraries in front of it, and we'll scroll down here a little bit, and you'll see indel right there. See it? So we know we've got the right ones. Now let's go ahead and do the build solution, and everything looks just fine. 1 succeeded, 0 failed, 0 up to date, 0 skipped, so we're okay. Now let's take the comments out. Again, as long as we've got the standard in front of it, we can put those in there by using the using namespace standard. It gives us the option of leaving off the which namespace to put in front of it, and we can go ahead and do another build solution, and it's going to be okay too. We can put it there, we can leave them off, it doesn't really matter. Now let's continue this discussion a little bit, just so we really understand what namespace is. What I've done is I've gone ahead and added a couple of user-defined namespaces. Let's go ahead and build this solution. Okay. And 0 seg, 0 failed, it found those over. So let's look at this space right here. You say I said I'm going to create a namespace, and I'm going to call it MySpace. That's a name I gave it. And inside of it I'm going to define two things. Very simply, I'm going to define x and y as integers. X will be initialized to 1 and y will be initialized to 2. Then I'm going to create another namespace called YourSpace, and I'm going to define x and y again, only this time x are floating point numbers, double, and x will be 3.14 pi and y will be 4.14. Now how do we use this inside of our program? Well, let's say that right here I want to output the namespace stuff in MySpace. Well, what I do is I have to qualify it with what the namespace is, MySpace : x. Now you'll notice it came up and tell me there's two things in MySpace. Which one do you want? MySpace. I'll say that one, and then I'll put in a space so I can separate them out, and I'll put in MySpace colon, and I'll pick Y, and then I will do a carriage return, and then I'll output your space, colon, X, another space, and then output your space, colon, Y. Okay. Well, let's go ahead and build the solution. Say build solution, and it comes up. Found it. 1 succeeded, 0 failed, 0 up to date, 0 skipped. Looks good. Let's go ahead and run this. Start without debugging. And let's pull this over here, and there it is. Hello world. It outputs 1 and 2, and then 3.14 or 4.14. Just exactly what we thought it would do. So to wrap it up, what is namespace? Well, namespace is just a private little area that allows you to have multiple definitions for the same variable. So you notice here X is defined as an integer here, and X is defined as a double there. Well, this not only works for variables and constant, it also works for functions. You can have functions with the same name. And that's exactly what cout is. There's not just one cout. There are several. There's one for strings, there's one for characters, there's one for integers, there's one for doubles, floating point numbers, booleans. They all have the same name, but they work differently based upon what thing they're outputting. And that's a very, very valuable use of namespace.